I was in the United States Air Force. I joined because I was about to get drafted into the Army. Yes. Three years, 8 months, and 27 days. Not in my immediate family, but all of my uncles on both sides have served in the military in World War II. Alaska. Seeing new places, going and traveling. I flew on planes to other countries a lot, doing air evacuation of wounded. So I got to see a lot of neat places I would never see if I weren't in the military. Getting shot at, that could hurt. The usual stuff. Actually, in Alaska, there's not a lot to do. That's where I spent most of my time. But we'd go out bowling, just goofing off with the guys, playing pool, things like that. Yes, I have a really good friend that we went in the same day, and he lives in Seattle, Washington, and we stay in contact regularly, visit each other every now and then. No. I left the military from Alaska and moved to Texas, where I was from, and I got a civilian job as a paramedic. I was a medic in the Air Force, so it's kind of a natural transition to that field. I think it gives me pride, even though the Vietnam War, we weren't looked upon very favorably. Called a lot of bad names. You could, if you're in uniform, you could get in trouble. And but I have a sense of pride because I just did what my country asked me to do, and went where they told me to go. Family. Now, I wasn't married when I went in. I married when I was in the military. I got married, but family and friends back home was the main thing. Yes. I didn't really have any hardships. I said I was in the Air Force. I had a place to sleep every night. I wasn't in the jungle, fighting, just rescue type things, those kind of things. But every night I had a good bed to sleep in, so there really weren't any hardships for me. It was an adventure, and I got a lot out of it. Humor. Let's see if my wife will ever see this or not. I have kind of a quirky sense of humor. And one night there was unfortunately a man who died in an automobile accident, and we were going to take his body to the morgue, the temporary morgue, and we went down there, and a friend of mine was with me who was afraid of bodies. And as soon as we pushed the guy in there and we loaded him up, in a little tray, and he goes in, I flipped up the light switch and closed the door and locked it. And he got excited. When he got out, he went AWOL. We had to go track him down and bring him back. He got in trouble. I did too. So I wouldn't do that again, but it was kind of funny at the time. I learned I could do more than I thought I could. I did things that as a young 21, 22-year-old guy that I would have never thought I could do, as far as not combat situations necessarily, but treating people, injured people, life-saving, delivering babies, a lot of stuff that I didn't ever think I could do or had a chance to do. So I learned that I could pretty well tackle anything if I really wanted to and had the training for it. I think they are now more than in the beginning, because in the beginning we were despised. It never happened to me, but I had buddies that had eggs thrown at them, spit on, beat up, because it was an unpopular war. But now I think we're getting the respect, and I think if anything came good out of what we went through is that veterans today coming over are really honored for their service. It's a whole different ballgame for them. And I'm glad maybe what we went through had a part in a better time for them as they come home. Well, I got married. That's pretty special. That's real vivid. But I think just saving a life, actually being able to impact a life at the scene of whatever it was, treating them, getting them to the hospital, and they survived where they may not otherwise have. And that gives you a good feeling that it's whatever's going on, it's all worthwhile.
I was in the Army. I didn't join, I was drafted. I was not in any combat, but I'm considered a Korean veteran, Korean War veteran, because of the time frame. I was sent to Germany instead of Korea, which I was glad. I served a total of 8 years, 2 years on active duty and 6 years in reserve. I come from a military family. My father, my stepfather, my 2 sons are retired from the military, and my grandson is in the military right now. I suppose Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, because that was close to home, and when I got a weekend off, I could come to Dardanelle. And then my other favorite place was Germany. Weekends. Getting up in the morning, because I was not an early riser, and I didn't have to be thrown out of bed, but it was hard to get everything going by 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I'd go to movies, go to the service club. Always went to church. Bowling. I learned to bowl in the Army, and that became a pretty delightful passion with me. Yes, I stay in contact with several. There are 2 who live in the state of Michigan, 1 in Ohio, 1 in Pennsylvania, 1 in Texas. I believe those are the primary ones I keep in contact with. No. Well, when I returned home, my wife, my present wife, and I had been keeping a heavy courtship going by mail, and when I got home, we had already planned it. We got married, and then I returned to college. It means to me that when my country called me to duty, I went without any reservation. And it causes me to have a great sense of pride that I did serve in the military. Yes. Well, it depends on how you define hardships. At times the work was very hard, and the living conditions at times were trying due to heat and cold and living out in the snow and the rain. So sometimes it was pretty difficult. I learned that military discipline wasn't as bad with the proper mindset. If you had the proper mindset, military was not bad at all. And also, I was not really a kid when I went in. I was 21 years old when I went into the military. But I came out a 23-year-old with lots of maturity. I matured quite a bit in the service. Yes, and I think it has become more evident in the past 15 years. You know, we hear all about the Vietnam veterans being treated like dirt, and I think with the action that started in Iraq and Desert Storm, that people realized that veterans were deserving of more respect than they gave the Vietnam veteran. So, yes, I feel like we get a lot of respect, and just about every day or so, I wear a cap that has a military emblem on it, and someone will thank me for my service, and that's gratifying. I found out that I was not an ocean traveler. I went by ship to Germany and came back by ship, and out of 18 and a half days aboard ship, I was sick about 15 and a half days of it, and it's a horrible sickness. My job in the Army was that I was a crewman on a tank, an M48 medium tank, and one of the memories that has stuck with me forever has been when we were doing our training. We had our tanks lined up on the firing line, and this was in training, as I said, and we heard a loud explosion and looked up toward the firing line, and I saw 5 members of my company coming out of the tank on fire. The shell had exploded inside the turret of the tank, and they were burning. It was just like wartime, and I still remember it.